The Ford CEO drove a Chinese EV for 6 months. Not the CEO of some startup. Jim Farley, the man who runs Ford Motor Company. His entire career depends on Americans buying American cars. He had a Xiaomi SU7 shipped from Shanghai to Chicago. He drove it daily for half a year, and when reporters asked about it, he said he did not want to give it up. So what exactly is in these Chinese EVs that has the entire US auto industry spooked? And more importantly, should you be trying to get one? Subscribe to Average Car Joe. Before we get into this, we do the math, so you do not have to. No hype, no politics, just the numbers. Now let's get into it. Let's start with what these cars actually are. The BYD Sealion 06 is a midsize SUV with leather seats and massage features. It has a large touchscreen and a mini fridge in the center console. Fast charging takes it from near empty to full in roughly the time it takes to grab lunch. Starting price in China, about $20,000. The average new car in America right now costs $51,456 according to Kelley Blue Book. For that price, a Chinese buyer could pick up 5 of their best-selling electric vehicles and still have cash left over. Their smallest one, the BYD Seagull, starts at around $10,000. It has 250 miles of range and driver assistance technology. The range looks like it should cost 3 times as much in an American showroom. That is the car. Now here is why you cannot buy it. In 2024, the Biden administration put a 100% tariff on Chinese-built electric vehicles entering the US. The current administration has kept it in place. Here is what that actually does to the math. That $10,000 Seagull, after tariffs and standard import duties, arrives priced somewhere around $20,000 to $22,000 before any dealer markup. It is still cheaper than a Chevy Bolt and still competitive. The tariff hurts it, but it does not kill it at that price point. The bigger problem is what happens to the cars that compete with American family vehicles. A $25,000 Chinese crossover lands at roughly $50,000 after tariffs. At that price, the whole advantage is gone. You're paying Tesla money for a brand nobody services in America. Don't expect meaningful volumes of Chinese EVs in American showrooms before the late 2020s, if that. The tariff is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Here's the part most people covering this story are missing. Americans with Mexican residency are driving Chinese EVs on California and Texas roads right now, legally. There is a U.S. customs provision that lets non-U.S. residents drive their own foreign registered vehicles across the border on a temporary basis. So a dual citizen or a Mexican resident can buy a BYD in Mexico, where the tariff was recently cut to around 6%, register it there, and drive it into the U.S. Reddit users have been tracking BYD Shark pickup trucks in Texas and BYD Song Pros in California. Chinese EVs with Mexican plates are showing up at charging stations across the border states. You cannot register them in the US. You cannot sell them in the US. But people who have seen them in person are not calling them cheap knockoffs. They're saying they're better. Which brings us back to Jim Farley, because he was not alone. A Wall Street Journal columnist drove the same Xiaomi SU7 in New Jersey. Afterwards, she wrote that every time she climbed back into her Ford Mustang Mach-E, she could not stop thinking about the Xiaomi. She described the infotainment screen as absurdly large, and she ended the piece practically asking the car to come back to America. That is a journalist writing about a vehicle she drove once, like it is a person she misses. And the Mach-E she keeps going back to is the same car we covered last week. 5 NHTSA recalls. A park module that may let it roll away when parked. 319 days sitting on dealer lots with no buyers. A Cox Automotive study this year found 38% of Americans would seriously consider a Chinese EV. More than 1 in 3 before they have ever seen one in a showroom. The US auto industry is not scared of a bad product coming from China. They are scared of a good one. So should you actually try to get one in 2026? Here's the honest answer, and it comes down to one number: 0. That is how many BYD certified service centers exist in the United States right now. A BYD Sealion with a broken charging port in Dallas in 2026 means calling a mechanic who has probably never opened that hood before. No certified parts, no factory training, no warranty support. We saw exactly what that looks like last year. 8,000 Fisker Ocean owners, people who paid between $37,000 and $69,000 for a genuinely competitive car, woke up one morning with no manufacturer, no dealer network, and a recall nobody was left to process. The car wasn't the problem. The infrastructure was. A Chinese electric vehicle in America in 2026 is the Fisker situation before the bankruptcy. The product is real. The support system is not. Here's what to actually watch instead. BYD just opened 20 new dealerships in Canada. Not because Canada is the end goal, but because Canada is the test run. The tariff there dropped to around 6%, which makes the math work. So BYD is doing in Canada what every smart manufacturer does before entering a major market, and they are building the infrastructure first. Service centers, parts supply chains, trained technicians, warranty networks, the unglamorous stuff that turns a good product into one you can actually own without anxiety. If they get that right over the next 2 to 3 years, and the early signs suggest they will, the gap between a Canadian BYD dealership and an American one becomes a policy question more than a logistics question. Geely told a Las Vegas auto show earlier this year they would announce US market entry plans within 2 to 3 years. These cars are coming. The only real question is whether American automakers can close the technology gap before they arrive. Right now, that gap is real. And the CEO of Ford spent 6 months driving the proof of it every single day. Buy the best available electric vehicle today, the Chevy Equinox electric vehicle, the Kia EV6, and the Hyundai Ioniq 5. The options right now are better than they have ever been. But if you are planning a purchase for 2028 or 2029, keep one eye on what is happening in Canada. That is where this story is actually being written. If this helped make sense of the Chinese electric vehicle situation, hit the like button and subscribe to Average Car Joe. We break this stuff down every week without the politics or the fanboy takes. Drop a comment. Would you buy a Chinese electric vehicle if one showed up in an American showroom tomorrow? What would it take? See you in the next one.